Hello there, everybody. I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to the channel for my existing subscribers and members. Mwah. I really appreciate you. I'm so glad. I appreciate your time, your energy, your comments, all of it. And if you are new and you're just landing here, please stick around, hit that like and subscribe button. I hope you will. My name is Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I'm a tarot reader, but I'm also, again, if you're not familiar with me, just landing here, I am a former newspaper journalist. So my readings, I'm all about spirit and going to spirit and getting deeper insights. But I try to also get really informed and grounded in my energy and in my information before I sit down to do a reading for you all. I want to give you good content, always. And I'm also an initiated priestess in both Wiccan and African traditions. So I got a lot of experience under my belt. I try to stay on top of that, keep growing as we all do on our journeys, on our respective journeys. Today, you all, I want to take a look at what's going on with JD Vance. Is there a JD Vance takeover underway here, right? Interestingly, and he's been thus far, he's walked an interesting tightrope for entertainment purposes only. I got to get me a little sign. Somebody told me, recommended, just hold it up at the beginning of a video and then I'm straight. I ought to write that out right now while we are talking. For entertainment purposes only. Okay, let me hold it up. Excuse, I'll do a better job, but somebody said just do that and then I'm done, right? Got that on the video. That's what it's about, right? Got to protect ourselves. So going back to JD Vance. So he was pretty, laid back, sort of, in the background, which many people who, if you get too close to FDT, you got to learn how to navigate that before you find yourself on the outs, right? Can't fire his vice president, but still he has to walk a fine line. That said, especially in regards to Iran, suddenly we are hearing more and seeing more of JD Vance. He is the one who apparently is having quite a voice in the Situation Room and, behind the scenes with other cabinet members. And we understand that he has been on the horn and visiting and, trying to chum up with Netanyahu. Really, really interesting. In the wake of FDT's performance, almost couldn't get the word out, performance, let's call it that, at the, or lack thereof, at the G7 summit, right? Got there, the word behind the scenes, we didn't see this covered on major media. We obviously, they are afraid of lawsuits, but there's quite a bit of information out there, you all, around the fact that he was not, talk about cognitive decline, that FDT was not in good shape when he was at the G7 summit, and that in addition to the mounting escalation between Iran, Tehran, and Israel, that had a lot to do with why he got the heck out of there. Like, he was there for what, all 10 minutes, and then flew back out. A lot of eyes on him right now, in terms of his capabilities and his decline and his whole deal. So JD Vance. JD Vance has been, for a very long time, the Project 2025 set. We knew, that the plan was to position JD for the 2028 race, right? They were going to get him wound up in the VP spot, get him all wound up. But is there concern that FDT may not make it? And Spirit has said that for a long time. I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle that all of this has happened thus far, but wishing no harm on anyone. But the idea is, you may have to step up sooner than we thought. This isn't even, 2028. It may be one situation, one scenario, but you may have to step up now. And they are therefore putting him in the, spotlight more and more. We will be hearing more from him because they're trying to position and make sure that he's got this public, profile, that he's ready, he's ready and experienced enough to step in. Going to go to Spirit and see, is that the plan? Is that what they're concerned about? And are they ratcheting, they meaning the cabinet, meaning leaders within the GOP, are they ratcheting up to try and get JD to take over the mantle? We have the Page of Wands that comes at the bottom of the deck. I am using, because I have a lot of readers who join the channel, I'm using Poppy Palin's Enchantment Tarot, okay? So we have the Page of Wands. That's new in creative energy. And look, running toward it with the flashlight, right? I love the imagery in this deck. It's real busy, but man, it nails it with the meanings of the cards. Page of Wands, Spirit, JD Vance, is he being primed to take over? Is he being primed to take over? We have the 10 of, call it blades, but 10 of swords. There is extreme concern, you all, within the administration that both in terms of FTT's cognitive abilities, his willingness and capabilities to grasp especially global events and governing in the face of these global events, lots of concerns around that. And he is worried as well, because I'm looking at his energy, JD Vance. He's worried. He's running toward it, but he's worried that what he thought was going to be, again, positioning him for 2028 is coming a lot sooner than he had planned. 6 of Cups. That's the base. That's the MAGA base. And trying to put him increasingly in favor with the base. Because he's not one reason that Spirit has said in the past, both in my readings and others here on the platform, I'm sure many of you have seen it, is that he would not try as he might. He will not be a successful, standard bearer for the GOP. He's not well liked, and he's done too much switching back and forth. Some of the things that we know he said in the past in regards to FDT, and then switching that. 8 of Pentacles, they call it coins in this deck, but the 8 of Pentacles, y'all, the work being done to position him, and the work that he feels he has to do to be seen and get the buy-in from the MAGA base that he's prepared to do this. So let's go ahead and skip a step and jump up. Jump to the front of the line, as it were. Spirit, will JD Vance in this term take over for whatever reason, whether it's a health event, impeachment, probably not, but will he take over? We have the 2 of Pentacles. It's an option. Right now, I get it. Thank you, Spirit. Right now, it's about a co-share of what's being seen and being broadcast around the globe as who's in charge, who's at the helm. And so there's this balancing act of, okay, we're going to have to get you more, we're going to have to put you out there more, talking to Netanyahu, talking to other world leaders. That may have even been a part of that's public, that public display when he went to Italy around the Pope, right? That was a part of the plan even then. We have the Hangman. They want to be really, really careful about it because of the base, because they don't want to, he's conscious of not appearing to take over from FDT, understanding how, Elon Musk and so many others can attest to that. What happens when you begin to eclipse or overshadow FDT's influence, when you seem to be taking up too much of his space, right? Hangman, 9 of Cups, but he wants it. He wants the power. He wants the power, and he's not by himself. That 9 of Cups, you look at that whole, that crowd there celebrating, carrying on. He wants it, and there are those, Spirit, are there those within this administration who are, secretly, quote unquote, telling Vance, get ready. We're going to need you to be ready to step up at a moment's notice and assume the mantle. 5 of Blades or Swords. Yes and no. There are those stalwart FDT loyalists. And again, remembering, I'm getting from this as well, this is gossip and some backstabbing. There are those within the cabinet and administration who do not care for JD Vance. And this would be, they feel they have more sway with certainly the Susie Wiles of the world and the Laura Loomers of the world, right? They feel they have more sway with FDT than they would have with JD Vance. So there are those who don't want to see it, and thank you for the confirmation, Spirit. Here comes the High Priestess to indicate, yes, another confirmation. There are those who are saying, get ready. You may have to do this at a moment's notice, JD. We may need you to be ready to step up, but being extremely careful. High Priestess can be extremely secretive, and knowing what's on the back burner, but making sure everybody, or trying to make sure everybody doesn't know what's on the back burner. Spirit, again, please show me clearly, will JD Vance have to assume the step up during this term, during this present term? With the Four of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups. That's some, I wonder if that's Susie. I pulled the Queen of Cups before for Susie Wiles. Tremendous influence that she has within that cabinet, and leading that loyalist, that FDT loyalist faction of the cabinet. So there is some resistance to it. However, we have the Three of Swords that shows up, you all. Is that him? They don't want it. They don't want it, but what are the options? Will he hold that office? Will he be the one? And there's Justice. So this would be a period of sorrow. There would be a real reluctance, and thank you, Spirit, I get it. He's going to be cagey. That's back to this High Priestess, you all. He's going to be really cagey about, I'm willing to wait my turn. I'm ready, like, groom me for the 2028, because I don't want to get in the way. I am a loyalist. I am, I'm all about FDT's agenda, et cetera, et cetera. So he's playing outwardly, he's playing like, no, but ready, still ready and primed. Will we see him holding that position? And there's the Fool. It ain't gonna be pretty, but there's a really, really solid chance, you all, that before this term is up, we'll see him have to take over the lead. And whether that is because of a health event or some other means that FDT is deemed unfit, that's the plan. He is being prepped and ready to take that leap. JD is being prepped and ready to take that leap. But that said, in the Ten of Coins, that's everybody having to rally around him, almost like, because it's the situation will be so dire that that's what has to happen. And there's the Three of Coins, working together collaboratively. So when this event occurs, those who have been resistant, that going back to that High Priest, going back to that Five of Swords, backstabbing, gossiping, nobody really likes this guy. Deep down, they don't like him, and deep down, they don't see him as particularly capable, but he would do. They'll have to make him do. They have to come together, and I feel like there's some congressional stuff going on there as well. Because Spirit is saying, remember, part of, Congress just absolutely, the GOP faction especially, just absolutely laying down and going to sleep and being comatose is because of the continued popularity of FDT. JD Vance does not have that same popularity. And so there you'd have these voices of dissent, perhaps within the other branch of government that used to be another branch of government called Congress, starting to pump back up. And he would feel that pressure. JD Vance would feel that pressure. He will not have the same amount of influence and sway. We have the Knight of Wands. I think that's a confirmation, because they think he's too young. He's not ready. He's too brash. He's too, Interesting. And I'm not the only reader who said this, or you don't even have to be a reader who says to think this way. A lot of what the the fascination and the loyalty with FDT is that he's malleable. He can, you get to his ego, and you can massage him. You can get him to go in the direction you want. They do not see that same energy around JD Vance. There's that no, this is somebody you really got to watch out for. Nine of Swords, you got to watch out for this guy. Like, this is not the outcome that they want, but it's looking like with that Fool, where did it go? That Fool coming, it may be out of their hands. It may be out of everyone's hands. So there is a really, really good chance. I went into this, part of what drew me to this subject today, you all, in channeling and doing my meditation before I read, which I always do, was I wondered if it was almost deliberate, like, back channel, let's escalate this guy's FDT's, exit stage left, so that we can put him in, so we can get JD out front, because he'll further our agenda. But while he buys into that extremist, Project 2025 all day long, becoming what he's thinking Project 2028. There's so much, again, Congress waking back up, congressional leaders waking back up, and even the MAGAverse itself not really being about him at all, and not ready to be about JD Vance. So that's why we got that hangman. They don't want it, but I think they're going to have to adapt and adjust to it, because it's coming. All right. Second thing I wanted to look at quickly, you all, today is on the 24th, few days, we've got the New York primary. And Andrew Cuomo, he's leading in all the polls. But what's really fascinating about that is we also have who's the young guy? I wrote his name down. Damani. AOC has come out and what is his name? I'm sorry, you all, for the. I know I had it written. Zohran. I knew I wrote it down. Zohran Mandani. He's 33 years old, New York State rep. Many of you are hearing that because he's getting a lot of attention right now, especially because AOC came out and endorsed him. However, talk about establishment Dems came out and endorsed Andrew Cuomo is none other than Jim Clyburn, right? So you've got this dynamic setting up, and what Spirit is saying is we're going to see that dynamic play out again and again as we head towards the 2026 midterms, with this rebranding of the party, the Democratic Party, and how the extent to which they're willing to embrace progressive candidates over the establishment Dems, right? We see that. Ken Martin, we see him. He's in trouble. Newly installed head of the DNC. He's in trouble. Fundraising is not doing well. They're trying to pull out all the stops, bringing out fundraisers with featuring people like former President Barack Obama, et cetera, et cetera. Like they're scrambling. They are scrambling. I want to take a look, you all. I think I've seen it before, but I want to confirm now. Spirit, will Andrew Cuomo win the primary on the 24th? Will he be the Democratic candidate for mayor in New York? We have the Chariot, yeah. Okay, so no surprise there. We know that it's coming. He's got the big money. He's got the recognition. He's got the blah, 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 blah. Establishment Democrats. But I'm wondering as well, will he then make an effort to incorporate more progressive people in his sphere in this next Page of Wands? Yeah, he's going to see the need for that, the Page of Wands, because the AOCs of the world, the Zohran Mamdanis of the world, young, dynamic, charismatic, able to attract the voters, which desperately need, cannot have a repeat, got to make 2026 work and take over the House. That's the plan. There's the Four of Pentacles, though. That's that stuck in its ways. The party still being stuck in its ways, and Cuomo being a little stuck in his ways. He's going to need some persuasion, you all. And again, why that really matters beyond the scope of New York. Of course, all eyes on New York, especially because of its power and influence and Cuomo's ability to step up and without fear. He's never been shy about taking it to FDT. There's the Page of Pentacles. They are going to bring on some new, Cuomo will bring on some new and fresh talent to try and offset what will be a lot of very disappointed people who are feeling, okay, here we go again, Dems, you don't want to change. You don't, what you've got, how old is, I know I wrote it down. Cuomo, 67 years old. Someone like Mandani, 33 years old, right? There's that, and going, that brings back to mind too. We saw what played out with AOC, did an incredible bid for the oversight committee, but no, established Dem said, can't do it. So sorry. We're going to stick with Connolly, and, God rest his soul. We see how that turned out. So there is increased pressure to have and build candidates who are representing this more progressive end. Mandani has talked about things like free buses and rental caps and protecting, working class, really working class issues. And then you've got the establishment who, is going to represent the business interests, etc. But the larger implications for this, you all, in terms of going into, there's that conflict, Five of Wands. They're going to have to address. You can run, but you can't hide, is what Spirit is saying right now, you all. You establishment Dems, you can run, but you can't hide. You can run for office, you can win, but you can't hide from what is a building momentum and demand within the voting populace that we will not just continue to do business as usual. And there's a decision that has to be made. They recognize that. Two of blades or two of swords. They got to make some choices, and they don't want to make them. Notice even the visual there, like, I don't want to do it. They don't want to see it. But Spirit, will they be forced to? And again, I'm not just looking at New York right now. I'm looking at what happens in New York as a barometer of what is going to start to happen as we get into the 2026 midterms. And these, the whole goal being to make sure Senate, question mark about taking that over, but certainly go for it. House, very doable. If they play their cards right, right? If they play their cards right. And we have the Lovers. There it is. A blending. There has to be a way of the establishment to come forward and say, we hear you, and whether that means bringing more people in who are within their administrations, their cabinets, their milieu, bringing those people in who reflect that sentiment. That then positions them even increasingly so to run for office. So we have not seen the last of Zoran Mamdani by any means, and the AOCs of the world. We've talked. Spirit has indicated she may even wind up in the Senate. Her star is bright and shining brighter, and we know what she represents. We know what she's done out on the trail or in cities and town halls with Bernie Sanders. That we will see more of that, especially as we get into 2026, you all. So establishment wins, but it's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other is what Spirit is giving me, you all. Like yes, the establishment Dems are going to do what they do because they've got access to the money. They do know how to sway the vote, etc. There are people who they want change, but they also recognize that the GOP is mounting its war chest for 2026, and they want to be able to attract the dollars. And unfortunately, campaign finance reform is not high on the list of priorities right now for the party, either party clearly, but even the Dems. So they want the money. They want the super PAC money. And they're going to continue to go for that. But they also are being pushed further and further against the wall and recognize, like, the Spirit just showed me, like, I grab them by the collar and shaking them up. Like, you cannot win, really win and be effective if you don't figure out a way to include and promote and prepare yourselves for this progressive change, this shift that has to occur in this rebranding process. All right, you all, I hope that was helpful. Take really good care of yourselves. I'll check in with you probably back on Sunday. I appreciate you more than words can say. Please, again, remember to hit that like and subscribe button and tell other people about my channel if you like to comment. I am trying to grow. Recently retired, so this is my jam right now. It's been my jam for a while, but this is my jam full time, and I enjoy doing this. I enjoy being a part of this community and having this platform with you all. So let's do it. Let's continue to do it. Chin up, shoulders back, and definitely get into your heart space. Remember to breathe. It resets your nervous system. It changes the energy around you and within you. And let's all, if we all do that and keep our energy in check, then it has a ripple effect. All right. I'll talk to you real soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.